I'm Danielle Anders, and I am 19, and I lived at Hope House from January of 2009 till October of 2010, and I graduated the residential program. I was in foster care, and it was actually a big blessing that I got to come to Hope House because I got placed in foster care when I was about 5 months pregnant, and I got placed into foster care because I got in a lot of trouble when I was pregnant, and I went to jail when I was 4 months pregnant. I went to juvie, and I got let off on house arrest after staying in jail for one day, and I got in a physical fight with my dad when I was on house arrest, and I got moved to my mom's house, and I had to set up a court hearing because I violated my house arrest by leaving my dad's when I got removed. And my mom had a past history of 2 child abuse counts on me when I was younger, so the court said I couldn't stay with her and I couldn't stay with my dad because he got charged with first-degree assault against me. So I got placed in foster care because I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I bounced from 3 different foster houses when I was pregnant, and I was forced to look into putting my daughter up for adoption until I was 9 months pregnant, because I lived in a group home with 11 other troubled teenage girls who would like throw knives at each other, and like it just wasn't I tried to ask if I could have my baby there, and they just said it wasn't a good place for a baby to be, which I totally agree with them. So I was looking into putting my daughter Grace up for adoption until I just Googled it one day, because I went to an alternative high school called Fairview High School in Boulder, and I was in the teen parenting program there, and I was talking to my counselor. I was like, I don't want to give my baby up, like I don't want to do this. I believe she's my gift from God, and I want to make it work, and it was really hard because I just kept telling her that I want to keep her, I want to keep her, I want to keep her, and she's like, well, figure it out. So I Googled, I was like, well, if they have group homes for troubled teenage girls, they should have group homes for teen moms, So I Googled it, and Hope House was the first one that came up, and I read about it, and it sounded like a great program, so I called them and asked if I could have a tour, and I came and toured the place with like my caseworker and my dad and sister and everyone came to see what it was like, and they all loved it. And I asked Lisa and Robin, Robin was the house director at the time, and I asked if I could have an interview, and they're like, well, we've never interviewed a girl right after a tour, normally you have to set that up. And I was like, well, can I be your first? And they're like, sure, let's get this going, So they interviewed me, and I was like, when am I going to know if you guys have a spot open? Because they had 5 spots, and there was only 1 open. And I was like, when am I going to know? Because I have to put my daughter up for adoption if not. So they called me 2 days later and told me I was accepted. But I wasn't accepted until January, and I had Grace in December. I had her December 6th, December 9th. I was due the 6th. So I was like freaking out because I was like, I don't have anywhere to go for this month. I can't live in this group home with my daughter, but I can't move to Hope House. So I asked my dad if I could go live with him after we got all our legal stuff finished. And I asked my dad if I could go live with him for a month, and him and his current wife, I didn't get along with her at the time, so he said no. So I just kind of gave up all hope, and I was like, I have to put her up for adoption. And then my caseworker, he called me and told me that this family heard about my situation. They were waiting to adopt their own child because they can't have kids of their own, and they heard about my situation and they wanted to take me in. So they were my other foster family. They housed me for a month, and I had like my own room, and Gracie had her own nursery and stuff there, and they took care of us, and then they moved me to Hope House. Your first 3 weeks are like kind of like an orientation at a new job, so you're getting trained on how to do it. So here they have to watch you brush your teeth, and you like make sure your hygiene is okay and watch you put your kids to sleep. And so it's kind of like, for me, I was kind of used to it because I came from a group home setting, so that's kind of like, I already know, like, you can't leave whenever you want to leave, you know. But it was just like a kind of like a reality change for me, because the difference here was that it's your choice to be here, you know. And in my other group home, we're forced to be there by the state. The staff here, they're like more like my friends, not staff members, you know. Now that I don't live here anymore, but when I lived here, it's like they are your staff members because they look after you. So in the end, they're gonna do what's best in your best interest for your program and stuff. But they're also your friend that you can come and talk to, which is really nice. There are people who not just want to talk to you, but they also want to listen. I was a very closed off person before I came here, and then here it like made me like be very outgoing and tell people about my life. I think they've taught me how to overcome my fears and not put anything, don't let anything stop me from reaching my goals. Like they had me do public speaking. I spoke at the, have you guys heard of the gala? It's like their biggest event, and they have like 1,000 people come to it, you know, and it's really nice, and everyone like wears really, all the girls dress up really pretty and stuff. And they had me speak at that my first year here, and I wrote a poem actually for the talent show we had here at Hope House, and they had me speak it, you know, and I spoke in front of 1,000 people, and I've never done that before, you know, and it was really scary, but I told my story, my life story, you know, in front of all those people, which is really cool. I think they've told me taught me not to be ashamed of who I am, but to be proud of it, you know. And that's, yeah, I've had some hard life situations, but it's made me who I am today, you know, not let it stop me. Like, I used to get in a lot of trouble when I was younger, and I would resort to violence for any kind of anger problem I had. Like, I'd punch a hole in the wall, you know, and you can't really do that here because you'll get the cops called on you, you know. So I think they taught me, I think the biggest one is they taught me how to, I don't know how to put it, like, I guess self-soothe would be a good way, but how to like handle situations, and be an adult about it, and sit here and talk about what's going on here, instead of like, oh, you ever say that to me again, I'm gonna hit you in the face, you know, like. So which was one of my really, really big problems coming here, because I was a tough girl, you know. I got put in a whole bunch of hard life situations which made me that way. It's completely different from living in a group home setting and then you go out and live on your own. It's like a shock, you know. It's like you got hit by lightning, because it's completely different. It's scary too, you know. Like my car got broken into on Thanksgiving, and my grandma died on Thanksgiving, so it was like a really hard day. But I called Hope House, you know, and they offered to help me pay for my car, you know. So like, even though I don't live here anymore, they're still willing to help you with like certain circumstances and stuff, or like offer you relationship counseling or anything like that, you know. Anything you need, they're here for you. I'm a single mom who works 3 jobs. I work as a nanny, which is part-time, and then I actually, when I lived here, I got asked by one of the staff members, the old parenting teacher here, she asked me if I would be interested in serving on a youth advisory board. And I read about it, and I was like, oh yeah, this looks great, you know. Like, I love voicing my opinion, you know, and especially I was the first teen mom they've ever had, so I got chosen, and I served on that, and I've served on it for a year. And then this year, I was too old to be on the board, but I was like, I still want to be a part of this. What can I do? So they created a position for me. So I serve as the Youth Partnership for Health Liaison for the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. So I'm the first youth to ever work there. And this place is like over 50 years old, which is really cool. And I was working 4 jobs when I moved out. I worked at Denver Public Health as their first youth intern and their first paid intern, which was really cool. They created a position for me, and unfortunately I had to quit that job like the week after I moved out, because my daughter was no longer seeing her dad, and I didn't have childcare. I couldn't afford it because it's super expensive. So I had to quit that job, which kind of really hurt my budget. So I was kind of like trying to figure out what to do, but then I got more hours at my nanny job. And I also work, I'm on the state advisory board, or not state advisory board, state advisory panel for youth access to tobacco. And I'm the only youth on that too, which is really cool because it's all to promote youth from not smoking. Not from smoking, but from not smoking. So I basically, I'm a workaholic. Because you gotta do what you gotta do to take care of your kid by yourself.